Welcome to Is This on the Test, a podcast where we debunk myths about modern education. We are your hosts, Anthony Tavares,
Katrina Pardo,
Henry Flores,
and Madai Martinez.
We are the creative team behind Union City Music and Dance, and this podcast is for parents, aspiring teachers, mentors, and students, where we pull back the curtain on education. Let's get right into it.
Hello, everyone, and happy almost 2022. We are recording this the last week of 2020. So today we're actually coming off of a mini show that we had here at UCMD, and thank you to all the parents and students that participated. And today we just want to wrap up kind of what happens with this time, not just at the music studio, dance studio, but in our lives, and how crazy stressful this time is for everyone, especially now with this Omarion variant. So stay safe out there, guys. But today we're talking about how to avoid the stresses of the holiday and center what the holiday season is supposed to be, which was what our show was about, which we entitled The Magic Within, and the kids exactly did just that. They really showed us what was inside of them and the magic that happens before a performer goes live and all these great things. So today, let's kick off with talking about intentions versus resolutions. Are you guys in the habit of doing resolutions?
I am.
Why or why not?
So not that I stick to the resolution. We're gonna try to work on that this year, but it's been just kind of like a family thing where we all get together. You know, once we eat the 12 grapes on New Year's.
Oh yeah, for sure with the 12.
And we all go around and we all, say a resolution and something that we hope for the other person. So we hope you stay healthy or something nice to say to each other to start off the year, in a loving manner. So I do the resolutions. I think I stuck to it 1 year, which was in 2017, right before I had Sophia, which was not to have any caffeine and not to have any sweets because I was pre-diabetic. So I definitely had to stick to that, and I'm grateful that I did. But yeah, do you guys do your resolutions?
I like to set goals maybe like a week before, but kind of how you said, Katrina, I don't really stick to them as long as I plan to. And it's not that I lose sight of my resolutions. I just kind of get busy, and sometimes I do lose that focus. And whenever I do get the free time and I feel like I have like a week to myself, I try to get back on top of it. It's not always consistent, but throughout the year, I'm always getting back at it.
I don't really like make a resolution and like write it down, but I just try to make like a mental like note or like goal out of it. And because like in the same vein as you guys, if I call it a resolution, like once like we're out of January, I'm just like, whatever. I can go to the gym next week or something. I don't know. Yeah. So it's just kind of like I will say that even though I don't make like just a concrete resolution, I think the new year does kind of like get me hyped up because I'm just like this like new chapter kind of thing. Also at the end of the year, I try not to, but I do it anyway. This like recap of everything of the year, and I'm always thinking about like what I did do and what I didn't do enough of, and I'm like super self-critical usually of myself near the end of the year. But then I try to take that, or at least last year I took that and tried to like, okay, like, well, if I didn't do enough of this, then like let's make that a priority in this next year. If I didn't do enough of this thing this year, if I did too much of this and it was like a negative, let's try to balance that out. And like, so it's not really like a resolution, but I do like start to adjust myself for like the new year, and then like try to act accordingly once it's the new year, but then I try to keep that energy like going forward.
It's a recalibration.
Yeah.
I always, with resolutions and things like that, for sure, I never ever have stuck to a resolution probably, but I think it's because of the way that it's framed. I think when we setting intentions is a very different vibe than setting resolutions. Resolution almost feels like I'm broken and there's something that I need to fix about myself.
Yeah.
Where if we see the years past as like you said, an analysis of sorts of like, okay, these were the circumstances now, then And these are things that I want to, look for or intend to do, right? I think when you put it as intentions and not like something that's resolved, a resolution, then that puts us in a better position to better hit those goals and make those marks. So that would be my advice. I think, within the last few years, as I've grown into my own spirituality and my own traditions now that I am older and, do have a husband and that whole thing, and what, thinking about what traditions I want to keep and honor, then for sure, I think it's going to be more about intentions and like getting right. Like I feel with the year, I no longer want to party and like rah like with the cute sparkly dress anymore. As much as I want to like be in my home and make sure that when the new year starts, my home is clean.
Yeah.
It's like fresh, and I want to start a new year like having like clean sheets and like laundry
Is
done.
that a tradition of you guys or the viewers? Like my mom has always taught me this thing that on New Year's you wear new clothes if you can, or your newest clothes, and like I'm getting a haircut tomorrow.
Correct.
I meant to get one before the show, but like you have to go into the, and it's so ingrained into me that like I will definitely pass this on to my kids if I have them. Like just going to the new year, like your room clean, your affairs in order.
Affairs, tie up the loose ends.
Yeah, like
take
as much
the
as
sweep.
you can. Like I was like, I'm gonna get this goddamn car fixed before the new year happens. So I'm gonna bring that negative energy into the next year.
Yeah.
So I know exactly what you're talking about. Like just kind of getting everything as like right as you can,
right?
And so that you can like go into the next year good.
Yeah. So I think collectively, for us, maybe setting an intention here together with the viewers in this podcast for what we want UCMD to look like in this next trimester as we start. I'm filled with gratitude that we did hit the goals that we wanted to for the first trimester. It was a very new program with very different intricacies. Yeah. And I really think it went stellar, and I think, the show and that particular way of presenting the show went super, super well. So what are some collective intentions we would like to set for UCMD, for the students or the parents that might be listening, now that we have had these new 3 months to really like settle in and find our footing with the newness of the programs?
I'll talk from the music department. I would like most of the students to be a little bit more disciplined. I don't like it when most of the students kind of walk in here and they don't have their stuff prepared or practiced, because it just makes me feel like I'm not doing my job properly. And I feel like I'm wasting an extra 30 minutes trying to teach them the same thing I taught them the week before. How they walked in preparing everything they were supposed to prepare. I think hopefully the next show that we have will go a lot better and a lot more smoother than we expected to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I guess we'll go like in this order. Yeah. I think for me, intentions that I definitely want is I want like the communication of what, and it's gotten better, but I think I want the communication of what we're doing, like with the students and what the parents see, to be a bit more surface level. Like it's great that after these shows, parents are like, wow, so my kid really is getting lessons here.
Right.
And like,
well,
it's the cathartic feeling, because I'm like, they're just like, oh, okay, like you guys are really teaching them. And it's like, yes, and I'm glad they're amazed, and I'm glad they appreciate it, and we got a bunch of great feedback from the show. But I don't want it to take a show for parents. Like we're gonna do the show anyway, but we don't want to feel like, oh darn, we gotta do a show because parents are asking us a bunch of questions. Like I don't want that. I want parents to really like trust us, and have like, unlike some other schools, you can just come and ask us. You can like email us. You can just come. You can sit in the class if you want. And we just want that communication to be more clear of like what it is that we're doing here. And like hopefully the kids are kind of relaying this information, or you're just seeing it in their playing and they're practicing. Yep. But going back to what Anthony was saying, they got to practice at home. So it all ties in together. Yep. But yeah, I'd just like to see, sorry to cut you off, I would just like to see that, like the communication get better. It's getting better, but just a bit more. And then that's it. Just do more projects with them.
Yeah. I think it helps maintain the community that we try to establish here at UCMD. I mean, it's kind of our goal, so if the parents can participate with us. Again, always feel free to let us know. I mean, any concerns or questions. I mean, we're very open people, and I think we're all open. So whatever criticism they want to give us.
I agree. Dance wise, I I agree with you, Anne. I want the students to come prepared and ready. If your hair is supposed to be in a bun, it's in a bun. If you're supposed to come in with your leotard and stockings and your shoes, come prepared. Because for me, as a dance teacher, if the kid is not prepared, it's like I gotta spend 15 minutes telling them why your hair needs to be picked up the right way, and spend, why you have to dance in a leotard and in certain clothing. So I do want the students to be 100% prepared, and especially for dance, take what we give you in class and practice it at home. Because again, I agree with Anne. When you are ready to do something, especially prepare for a show, and kids are not practicing at home, we have to go back to square one and start over again. And for this show, I want the kids to be more prepared and more open and ready, because I'd like to see more students perform and more students do more than one performance. And also, too, I want the parents, dance parents, feel free, reach out to me. For those of you who don't know, I am the dance director at UCMD, and Anthony is the music director. Henry is our program director. So I definitely want to help you more out in terms of that. So parents, please feel free to reach out to us as a collective, not just Madai. We are also here for you and for your children. They're like my children when they're here. Know that they're in good hands, and I love and care for them, individually as if they were my own children.
Yeah.
So.
I think, those goals definitely have been hit, and it has taken a while to really establish that real sense of community here. And I think that's something that, especially with these new implementations of programs, that's been super successful. And we saw it now for the first real time in that show.
Yeah,
where we
we
saw
really did.
a different dynamic and a different relationship that these kids really had with each other.
Yes.
Even the younger ones with the older ones. There was more of a fun
Yeah.
backstage environment.
You pointed this out one time, but in the past, sometimes the shows were the first time that some of these kids met each other.
Yeah.
Like the dance, we're seeing the pianist for the first time.
Yep.
Or like the guitarists were finally meeting the other musicians,
Yeah.
which is crazy. And here, people were looking forward. Like people were like, oh, can we come and see
mentioned.
Christian's performance? Can we go up and see Elza? Like, because they're friends now.
Yeah, they were
They're
more
actually
support
friends,
system to each
which
other.
wasn't always the case here.
Yeah, so I definitely want to. My intention here is I want to ride that momentum into this new year.
For
Now
sure.
it's kind of like, okay, everybody knows what we're doing. Let's go. And I really think that energy that we're leaving and closing up this season with, I'm super grateful and thankful for. And I think, Anthony, you mentioned that Suzuki method of teaching, and I think bringing the parents in a more real and interactive way so that they have the tools that they need to then teach their kids at home, or like review something at home, or have better language so more aligned with what the words that we're using here, or if we're talking about affirmations, internal versus external, grounding, breath work, like all these things that we do on a daily basis is definitely my intention. But I really have to say thank you guys to you guys, to our community, to our students, for trusting us, because it's not just, like I mentioned in the show, it's not about artistically guiding, it's about really like internalizing these concepts for real life applications. And that's what we're doing here. And having that show be what it was super special. It felt super cozy. And I can't wait to see that on a bigger stage and to a higher caliber for sure. So, parents out here who are scrambling, what's today's date?
Today's the 22nd.
22nd of
Whew,
December.
Santa Claus coming to town.
Santa Claus coming.
Time
yeah.
flew.
For the
Christmas is this
for the
weekend.
parents that are out there that maybe have had a stressful holiday season, I know especially now with this new COVID variant, things are still scary. What do we want to tell parents to keep top of mind as they continue to navigate the non-normalness of life? And how do we prepare for, we've already been part of a lockdown. We've already been part of these scary things. How do we keep our kids consistent through this still uncertain times?
It's a tough question.
It is a tough question.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like being in quarantine isn't as easy as a lot of people expect it to be. When I was in lockdown, I thought I was gonna be making music every freaking day in my house, and I made music like one night, and I lost all motivation. And every other day, I just couldn't do it. It was a lot harder than I expected it to.
Yeah.
I just had like no sense of motivation. Nothing really inspired me to want to create music. So, one thing that I would recommend if you are privileged enough to take a walk to the park or just go outside for a little bit, get some fresh air, I definitely would recommend that. It definitely keeps your mind a little bit more awake, a little bit more, just more fresh. Because once you're in your room day after day after day after day,
Yeah.
Right.
you don't really have any expectations for the future. So go out, take a walk if you really need to. Like maybe just around the block.
Yeah, we need to change the scenery for sure. For sure.
I
as
think
well.
that'll help out.
Especially through this break.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. For me, it was a little different because I was quarantined with my children. So Sophia was still very small, but Keandra was in virtual school and she was doing this whole thing virtual. And those of you that know my daughter, she is a social little butterfly and needs the interaction. So it was really tough for her. But I think what helped us pull through is after that virtual school is getting her off the computer screen and taking time to do something that she liked, whether it was just sit and draw and color, whether it was just take the time to do imaginative play, or like you said, go outside and go for a walk. We did a lot of that, in safely, of course, with masks on and all that. But definitely take the time out of your day, and even for parents, for me, because I was actually working through the quarantine. I was still working. I was considered an essential worker, even though I was a concierge at a residential building. It's considered essential. So that was really stressful for me also, but I made sure I took the time to be there for my kids and as a family, and just take that time to keep your how should I say this? Keep your self-esteem alive. Don't lock yourself in the room.
Yeah.
Try to be
don't woe
together
is
as a
me.
family.
Yeah.
For sure.
And that definitely helped me pull through the lockdown for sure.
I was gonna say, like, at that point, I have both of my siblings, my brother and sister, living there, so it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Because if I felt bored, I'll just go downstairs, talk to my brother, talk to my sister,
Right.
and whenever we finished having a conversation, I'll go back up and do whatever I felt like doing. And if I felt bored doing that, take another trip downstairs to talk to my brother and sister again, just to, I don't know, just to keep myself like positive.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring this idea that I definitely apply in my life, and I've understood that there's a difference between active and passive rest.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of this?
I
Yep.
So for me, I am looking forward to this break. I think it's a much needed recalibration for everybody, especially coming off a big performance. And for me, active rest looks like painting, just for me, or playing the ukulele, which I just shared for the first time. Things that I'm not exactly monetizing, that is just for me and just for my own pleasure and own release. And I think, I do challenge everyone out there to identify where those areas of active and passive rest is. And yes, of course, passive rest for me could also be like scrolling on TikTok. That does help me decompress or binge watch something or watch a movie or whatever. Sleep for
that's
sure.
great.
But identify, I challenge you guys to really identify for you, for yourselves, for your kids, for your families, what are these areas of passive and active rest? Because I don't think we do the active rest enough.
Yeah.
And now with the break, I would challenge that if the kids don't have homework, which they shouldn't, which we'll be talking about next week, if they don't have any major projects or they don't have anything to do, really, this is the time of pause. Similar to quarantine, but a little bit more festive because it's the holidays and we are with family, maybe that we haven't seen in a while, but challenging you guys to find those spaces of active and passive rest and what that looks like for you and your family, together or individually. Do you guys do those two?
I feel like the only active rest I really do get would just be me scrolling on my phone. Like if I'm on my computer doing an assignment, I'll pick up my phone, scroll through it a little bit, and get back to work. But I've noticed that doesn't really calm me down as much as I would like it to. So sometimes I just put my phone down, lie down on my bed for a little bit, close my eyes, 5-10 minutes, and then once I go back to the task, I feel a lot better for sure.
Yeah, it matters.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something and I forgot because there was
Top
like
10 tips for staying motivated.
Swear, Henry, what you got?
Go!
I was like two.
And
Oh yeah,
quarantine.
yeah. So I mean, I can't even complain. Like for me, quarantine wasn't like. It wasn't too bad, honestly. I kind of just used that time. I mean, just for someone who is like, I have this idea that like if I need to get anything done, the best way that I work is just locking myself in a room and doing it. And COVID or quarantine felt like that. So I felt like I got a lot of things done. Like I basically like learned how to produce. I made like a career out of streaming. Like I made a decent amount of music. I started off very strong, and then kind of down. But I did start off pretty strong, and then life happened. But I think it's definitely like it's a double-edged sword because a lot like people wonder. It's like, damn, I feel like I've been like a little stressed lately. It's like, yeah, you're going through a global pandemic.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like
Have
people.
some grace
Yeah,
with
people
yourself.
wonder like, you know, am I stressed? Of course you are. Of course, there's so many things going, and like especially last year, like there was the pandemic. There was like a bunch of social issues that were going on. Like there was no way to not be affected. Even if you like don't watch TV, like it's you're being impacted by all this. I'm hoping that during, you know, if we have to go into lockdown again, or
No.
if or hopefully like the situation is handled better, which I'm hoping that it is. Like Jesus, we have a second try at it. Don't put like the pressure that like I'm in quarantine. I have to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
Like that a lot of people like I put that pressure on myself pretty much
agree.
because I don't think there's really anything right now that I do that I don't monetize. So passive rest is really hard for me because like if I'm playing games, I'm always like, oh, I can make a YouTube video right now.
Yeah.
If I'm like talking about anything, I'm just like, oh, I could stream this because like I have done just like straight up TED Talks on stream. So that part's kind of hard for me because like everything that I do actively right now, I kind of make money from. So I don't really know what thing I can do for fun that I don't make money from right now.
Ooh, Henry,
And
that's your task.
That's
then,
where
for
I'm
that,
at.
right?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's like just watching films and like dissecting them because I do really like cinema. And like that is not really tied to it, but I do want to make short films. So sometimes I'm watching a movie and I'm like, oh, I can make. So like everything, every time I do something, I'm just like, oh, I could do this, and I'm not really resting because then I'm planning, and then I'm just like, I think I'm wasting time. Every time I'm watching stuff, I think I'm wasting time.
It's not necessarily a bad thing because that
Yeah.
speaks to the growth mindset.
Yeah.
But I
Because
think everybody
honestly-
needs that break.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, we're in a world now where you can monetize anything you
Yeah.
do, so it's just
Yeah.
like you can monetize it and do a good job doing it. At the
Oh,
same
for sure.
time,
Yeah.
Then why wouldn't you? I
Henry.
definitely do see
Yeah.
that for sure. Damn.
Teach me your ways, Henry.
Definitely
Teach
do
me
see
your
that for
ways.
sure.
For sure. I mean, and like it's not without any fault. Like it did. Like 2020 basically taught me that like if I wanted to, you guys will see me in the future. But honestly, it taught me that I'm like I could be like a big YouTuber if I wanted. Like I have the personality for it, and it's not that hard. But second of all, too, I realized that we can definitely I could bring what I know to UCMD, and in a cool way, we have started to kind of do that, and I definitely want to take that to the next level in 2022.
Well, wait till you see our next year's schedule.
Yes.
Peep of that.
Good stuff.
But no, yeah, I think like you know, if you're spending time, definitely don't put a bunch of pressure on yourself to like become a billionaire during lockdown.
Yep.
It's also impossible to become a billionaire anyway. And just make sure you're like taking care of yourself. I think that's something really important. Like in the beginning of the pandemic, not to go on a huge tangent, but I was like super unhealthy. I was like deficient in every vitamin and like letters I didn't even know existed, like vitamin X. What? I was also pre-diabetic. Like I was like pale, like my shade of skin, like I was like dying, and I didn't have anything. And then it was like a big wake up call for me that I was like not eating well, sleeping well, nothing well. And then I started to take care of myself, and then I saw like a huge shift in like my literal physical well-being, but also like my mental well-being. So yeah, like it's a really stressful time. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself, and like trying to relax, trying to go outside safely when you can.
Yeah.
And eat well, like all that stuff. Just take care of yourselves, because like there's no point in making yourself sick with everything else going on around. And the second thing that you were asking, you said something else. Like it was like
Active versus passive rest. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess I touched on that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which active rest is like you're doing something.
Yeah, active rest would be like me painting, where I am
Okay.
doing something, but it's like relaxing me.
Passive rest is just like sleeping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Passive is like
Yeah. I need
Vegging
to work
out.
on on active rest. I don't think I don't know how to active rest right now.
Yeah,
Like at all.
I would say the same. I don't really do much of.
cannot.
Yeah.
Would
I don't do much of either. Like
Would
the word
meditation
rest.
be a passive rest?
Oh,
Or would that be
interesting.
active?
I feel like that would be active. Very active.
I do
Depends on the
meditate.
type of meditation, though.
Yeah, but I think you're engaging so many
Yeah.
things when you
That's a good
meditate.
one.
But yeah, listeners,
Mm-hmm.
active or passive
Good.
for meditation.
Honestly, you guys let us know.
Yeah,
Comment
yeah.
down below.
Yeah.
I do meditate.
Like I said, I don't do much of either, and I think now that you're challenging me to do so, I'm definitely gonna try over the break to try to do a little bit of both and see what works best for me.
One thing I would definitely recommend, Katrina,
what's
is
up, man?
wake up in the morning and do meditation for at least 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
You feel
Got it.
Yo,
No,
your,
Or
day,
journaling.
Yeah.
your day will start
Yeah.
off so much better.
Henry has a real important
Yeah,
point
wait, go ahead.
that he's really itching to get out of
I was just gonna say
Henry.
I do have an active rest that I might get into. So last weekend I baked bread for the first time.
Yes!
And I've been on
Bake
TikTok
it,
a lot, and I
Henry.
found like there's a bunch of like cooking and baking TikToks, and
You're
I found
inspired
this.
by my story at the show.
Yes. And I found this like one TikToker who like bakes a bunch of bread, but she puts like the ingredients in the step by step, and I was getting so into it, and I was like, I could do this, and so I bought all the stuff, and I made garlic bread.
Ooh.
So and like I don't make money from that, and that was so fun. So
Was
that
Was
might
it good?
Oh.
it came out pretty good. I brought it here. I was eating it here.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I made so much.
You
Yeah.
actually, you were just talking about how
Yeah.
you wanted to learn how to cook more things.
Yes.
Look at that, Henry.
So that might be my active rest, like Baker Henry.
Oh, that'd be so great.
Yeah.
You gonna bring me some stuff, Henry?
Yes,
I would
please.
love to. Yeah, bring you guys bread.
Yeah, so I think that's a challenge. It's about finding that, because it took me a while to do it too. And then through many conversations, many books, many everything, I read so much. What would be reading? Definitely active, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I feel like
I do read, and I noticed a marker of me being really stressed out is that I don't read. Like if I don't have enough time in my day to at least like 5 minutes, before bed or whatever, instead of those moments where you're prepping for a show and you just like knock out,
Yeah.
you're not even planning to go to bed, you just drop dead.
The week of the show, I knocked out every night.
Yeah,
I didn't, like,
when
go
you
to
start
sleep.
dropping
Yeah.
dead, that's when you should reevaluate like what's up with your life. Because again, even if times are stressful, and I think collectively need to be better at this. Like my parents and I will literally stay up till 4:30 in the morning. Well, you saw the text from John. He's like, "Are you coming home at any point before I go to work?" And most of the time, no. But being able to regulate your time, even through those times of
Definitely.
extreme stress.
Yeah, sleep a night routine.
Yeah,
That helped me so much.
And so, last question would be, or parents, I know this is a stressful time. What do you do to regulate when you identify that you're really, really stressed out? And 2, what is your identifier that you are really stressed out? Because sometimes we're really stressed and we're holding it and we don't even know, which is kind of crazy, but it does happen. So do you guys, I have several for myself.
I would say for me, I feel like I hyper focus on one too many things, and I'm like, I could do this, and this. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm only one person. Like, I need to take my time on one task. So
That's your indicator or your regulator?
that's my indicator. So
Okay.
I realize I'm just one person. Take my time, I breathe, and I don't want to say I write stuff down, but I try to prioritize what's most important and try to knock that out the way first before I let all those tasks consume me.
That does happen to me too.
Yeah.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, because with a ton of responsibilities, that you think you could do X, Y, and Z within a given amount of time, but you gotta realize that obviously everything's gonna take time, so it'll fall into place on its own time. You'll get there.
And what's your regulator?
My regulator, I'll probably just meditate.
Okay.
Again, just really sit down and just try to process everything in my mind.
They do say, Jay Shetty said this, at least I heard it from him. Great guy. Shout him
I
out.
follow him. He's really good.
He said that if you say you don't have time to meditate for 20 minutes, then you have to meditate for 2 hours.
Yeah,
Well,
I heard
you
about
know?
that. There's people
That's
that
for meditating
meditate
for
for an
2
hour.
hours.
Yep.
I wanted to try that. I don't think I got the
But you got the
patience.
idea behind it, right? So,
Yeah?
all right, regulator and indicator.
There you go. I'll go
Me?
first.
Oh, so indicator that
You're stressed.
I don't know. I think it's like if I don't do like my night routine. So like if I know that the day was stressful, if I knocked out, like I didn't wash my face, Like I started to like actually like take care of my face during the pandemic. All men should do that. It's not like
find your
Yeah,
skincare
skincare
routine.
routine.
it's not like we have like a thing of like, and even our shampoo. It's like men's shampoo.
Right.
Smells like Wall Street and mountains.
Mountains.
Get some proper
And goat.
shampoo.
Yeah, like
what is
river.
this? Yeah.
And tiger.
Yeah, like destigmatize hygiene. What the
Right,
heck?
for just women.
Yeah.
Right.
So I started to do that and it just makes you feel good. Just makes like you feel better. So I know if it's a night that I didn't do that, that's not great. Like it might sound gross, but some nights, and I always feel bad the next day. But so like when I'm going to sleep, I know to brush my teeth. So if I don't go to sleep, like I knock out, I fall asleep without brushing my teeth, and then the next morning I'm like, oh god, and then I'm like brushing extra hard.
Yeah.
But basically that like if I don't like go to sleep, that I know that I'm really stressed. If I'm just there were like the week of the show plus the car stuff going on, like there were days where I would fall asleep, like I would lay down, take my boots off.
Well, Anthony did fall asleep in his car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saturday,
I'll be like,
night.
let me get up in a second and eat and then go to sleep, and then I do none of that. Also, I don't eat when I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Like I'll skip that too, which is not great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like my indicator is when I start to ignore my physical health, because sometimes I keep that last in the hierarchy, which you should not do.
For sure.
Right.
And I think my regulator, my thing is really just taking a day to like reset. Like just the other day, like sometimes I'll feel gross, so like I schedule the cleaning with my dentist. They're like, you're not due until, I'm like, whatever, I want one now. So I got a cleaning.
Thoroughly.
There's like a spa near me, and like sometimes I call it a face reset, like where I've been lacking. So they do it all. Hot towel. It feels great, honestly.
Yeah.
I recommend it. Yeah, I kind of like do it. I do a day where I do nothing but take care of myself.
Yeah.
That's
Like
interesting.
I'll go to the gym and I'll make like a super healthy meal.
Yeah.
And then like if I just do that one day, then from then on, everything else is a step down. I'll be like, oh damn, I didn't work out today. Oh, I didn't wash my face because I did it all the previous day.
Yeah.
So if I do it that one day, like at 110%, that usually gets me back on track.
Yeah. I call those should-less days.
Should-less?
Yeah, like days. Everybody should have a day in the week where you just do things, not because you should do them, but just because.
Oh, hell yeah.
So like, you know, when you wake up, you're like, oh, I really should put the laundry in before blah, blah, blah. Or I really should, like, tidy up the living room. But that never really works out. So I think, but it's not that even if you don't do it, it doesn't remove it from your, like, you know that we have like a lingering to-do list that's kind of always where even if you don't physically write it, you have this like things in your brain that you know you haven't checked off, and they're kind of like weighing you down.
Yeah.
So having a should list day is like having no shame and going into it being like, this day is just me and whatever I want to do.
You really do need days like that, yeah. If you guys ever see me in a face mask on the stories, that's
You're a
that
should
day.
list day.
That's me chilling.
Yeah.
There's like this saying that goes, if you look good, you feel good.
If you feel good, you are good.
You perform good.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You are
He
good.
did tell me that in ROTC. If you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you are good.
Yeah.
At ease. And we're like, okay. But that's one thing that me and my high school friends, we make fun of ROTC all the time, but we do like that saying. And I do.
That makes a lot of
sense. I agree.
that.
Well, there is an indicator that if a person is depressed, the first thing that goes is like they don't care what they look like.
Yeah.
And their personal hygiene.
When you go into the room, it's all messy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Their personal hygiene goes. And
Yeah,
actually,
it's
it's a huge red flag that if you actually stop brushing your teeth and doing little
It's a
mundane,
big,
it's a huge
big
indicator of depression.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
Yep. Same. Yeah. For sure. For me, how do I know I'm stressed? My emotions are out of whack. So I'm either like every little thing bothers me. Like, Ish, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. But like if he breathes, it just like he gets the brunt of it.
Yeah.
And like I'm either like crying at every little thing or like I'm yelling at every little thing. And he's kind of the one that's like, hey, I think you want me to just take the kids and you like, do you need a minute?
Mommy
and I'm
needs a
like,
day.
yeah, mommy, like it's a mommy moment. It's like a running joke in our house. So mommy moment for me is I make myself a cup of coffee and I drink it nice and warm. Parents out there, I know you can attest to drinking cold coffee and eating cold food.
Oof, yeah.
I
mean, I'm not a parent, but I
make sure I have my nice warm cup of coffee and I make myself something that I want to eat. Doesn't matter what it is. If I want to eat freaking pizza, I'm eating pizza.
Yeah.
And I lock myself in the bathroom. I crank on my tunes and I take a nice shower and belt it out in the shower. And I just have that. That's what I do. And I kind of, it relaxes me a little bit. A lot of it, actually. Yeah. I feel like that regulates me for sure.
I have a million indicators. I have so many. One, I pick up my fingers, which I'm sure you guys have noticed.
Or you bite them.
Yeah. So whenever you see my fingers that look like a pit bull has gnawed at them, that's like Madai in high stress. That's number one.
Yo, my hands don't even look like that.
Yo, Anthony's hands are nice.
Thank you, Anthony.
You got some nice hands.
Yeah. So there's that. And then there's, yes, of course, my emotions, lack of sleep for sure. Like, yeah, when I'm dropping dead, wherever I am with the same clothes, then that we need to fix something. And then, yeah, like if I don't read or if I'm not doing like my routine things, so like either journaling or meditation, like when I neglect all of that,
routines fall apart.
Yeah, like it's just like your brain. You know that scene in SpongeBob where it's like, what do we have on a name? Yeah. It's just like everything is thrown.
It comes down to like survive
to breathing
and like the one other thing, eat and go to work.
Yeah, like, the SpongeBob analogy was all you need to do is breathe and fine dining. That's it. It's like breathe and show.
Just show up.
It's like there's only two things I need. And yeah, I forget to eat like John all the time. Like in general, I'm not, like I said, I'm sure I've said this on the podcast, but I'm gonna say it again. If I could pay someone professionally to dress me and to feed me, that would be hands. So if you're a stylist / chef out there that wants to, I just want somebody, because I make decisions so much in my life where I'm like, I don't want to decide on what I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
And then it's difficult because I am not eating meat, so I am a pescatarian, vegetarian. So it's like extra hard to find, like, I can't just swing by halal guys or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So, and then my regulator is I need to do some sort of active rest. I need to do something for me. I need to do some sort of painting, some sort of designing, playing the uke, like anything that will allow me to kind of decompress in a creative way. And then I also love baths. So, baths are like, man, I could be in a bathtub for 2 hours.
Oh, that's what I
like listening to a podcast with a bath going on, some like incense, sage situation. Yeah, that's definitely my happy place.
Yeah, I have a stand-in shower, so I don't have the option. No. But I love standing in there.
Leaning against the wall.
Whole choreography in the shower.
I definitely like bathe in high definition. Like I have like all of the things that you need. So. I
had before we get off the topic, I had like a weird new regulator in the past 2 weeks too. I don't know if you guys can relate.
A what?
Or a regulator, or no, not regulator, indicator of stress.
Okay.
And for the viewers as well, because maybe this is tied to something that you do as active rest, but it is also your job. So one really weird thing that was happening to me is that I was getting really annoyed at music. Like I would be driving and like I'd be like, oh my god, and like I would really lower the volume. I'm like, is this too much? In the past couple of days, before I couldn't drive, I would just drive with nothing, just the wind. And I've been taking the bus and train with no headphones. I'm just like and I'm still kind of on that. Today I drove with no music. I don't know. It was like too much. And maybe it's because like I was playing with every kid. Yeah. All of my kids for the show.
Noisy, yeah.
Is it that? I was trying. I'm like, why am I so annoyed?
Overstimulated too sometimes. I don't know what to listen to. So I'm like, let me just turn this off.
I like got mad. And, I was like driving. And I'm like, shut up. And I just like turned it down.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who like plays music all the time. I shower with music.
Yeah.
Whatever. I have not been playing music lately, but I've been playing music. Just not listening.
But not listening?
Yeah, just not listening.
No, yeah, I can see that.
Time and place, though. I definitely do agree.
I think I'm probably just like resetting my audio
for me,
stuff that happened.
I need music all the time.
Yeah.
It's all the time. Playing in the background, like at work.
Yeah.
I used to sit in the desk and I couldn't sit in silence. Yeah. Like silence, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm not used to sitting in silence. I grew up in a Cuban household,
Yeah.
You gotta meditate.
I'm gonna start meditating. So what's that saying? I gotta do 2 hours?
Yeah.
All right, got it. I'm gonna do 4. Let's see.
No joke. And you know what they'll say? If you do meditate and you end up falling asleep, you know, people are like, oh, I'm doing it wrong. I just keep getting tired. Then that's because you're tired.
Mhm.
And you need to sleep.
Right.
So it's like, these are all indicators and like your body's telling you all these things. Same thing, like,
Sure.
same thing. You get sick when you don't sleep, you know,
Yeah.
like.
You get-
I
you
got
get
mad
sick so
6 and
easy.
didn't sleep this week. And I'm not.
There it is. That's
Yeah.
why.
I do
your
think
body's
that's
the killer.
a big reason why I got sick too.
Yeah. So
Resting.
just to wrap up and wish everybody a happy holidays. Just make sure that we don't lose ourselves. You know, don't lose yourself this holiday season. I know it's crazy time. I know we have like family coming in from out of town. I know we gotta make el pollo con la caja china, which I literally need to go get tomorrow. But you know, really, 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 it's more important. Your kids are gonna more remember how upset mom is holiday season than what they got that
Yeah.
year for
Mhm.
Christmas.
For
They're
sure.
gonna remember if there's fighting in the family versus like if they open the presents a little later or in a different day.
Yeah.
You know, like it's really important to keep the structure. So think for yourself, what is a regulator and what is an indicator, and just try to regulate, because that's also what we're trying to do here with these kids. On a smaller level, having these tools now before we're adults is always important. I feel like I'm always going to close the podcast with that because this is exactly why this is important. This is why we're sitting here right now talking about these things, because we need to be understanding of what those indicators and regulators are before, because then the other leg of that is what happens when you don't regulate.
Yeah.
What happens when you're so stressed that you're like yelling at everyone, you're having a panic attack, you're doing this.
That's when you spiral.
Yeah,
Right.
I did. Yeah, I did have a panic attack recently, and I hadn't have a panic attack in like forever, and that was a huge like wake up call. You know, that I'm not regulating as much as I should be. I'm not taking care of myself as much as I should be,
Right.
and it happens, but it's when it's consistent that it becomes chronic.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to avoid here. Because, of course, we're all stressed. There was a show. Of course, there's a push. There's an extra. But if this was... Imagine we were in show week every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Like professionals. They
And
do it every
that's how it would be. That's how our bodies would shut down. Our bodies would get sick. We would crumble.
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
So,
Take care of yourselves.
yes,
please.
please.
You first.
So,
Mentally, physically,
Yeah. Especially
and emotionally.
yeah.
parents out there, you first, right? I've learned, and
Oh,
I learned,
big time. If
I've
you're
learned this a
parent.
lot from hanging out with these youngins, because I'm the oldest in the crew. You first, because if not me first, and how are my kids gonna be happy?
Absolutely.
Right?
1,000.
So, don't feel selfish, mommies and daddies, for taking you time, because I know that that's a taboo thing,
No, for sure.
where oh my God, you fed yourself before you fed your kids, like. It's okay to take care of you first, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't make our kids, you know,
Cannot pour from an
Yeah.
empty cup.
right. Yeah.
And you can't model.
Right.
Because if they see that mom's not taking care of themselves, then they're going to adopt that behavior by default. And then your kid's going to be in the same position you are.
Right.
Mhm.
Yep.
So, as we go into the holiday season, guys, don't put too much stress. Another year is literally another day in the life. And I think that's the main focus of today is, yes, we have all this stress to like have the best, newest, freshest fit for the new year, the best party. New Year's is always such a disaster because everybody's always like, I want it to end with like such intention and like, yeah.
I'm
Just
wearing
do what
pajamas.
feels right.
Mm-hmm.
Do what feels right in the way that you're wrapping up your year and starting your year, because it's literally just a day. You're going to sleep and then waking up the next day, and it's gonna be a new year. But
Mhm.
that's it. Like
Yeah.
it's not like this whole revolutionary
Yeah.
thing that's happening.
Don't give it too much power.
Exactly. So just focus. Take this break. We hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas break, holiday break, whatever it is you guys celebrate. And let this be led with love and grace, especially in light of everything that's been resurfacing collectively.
Right.
So that's our piece.
Later.
And
We
with
love
that,
y'all.
Merry Christmas, Happy New
Yeah.
Year,
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
and we
Happy
can't
holidays,
wait
everyone.
Hope you
to
had
see
a
you
Merry
guys
Christmas.
in 2022.
Bye.